Hello everybody, welcome to the video wall. I am Gabby Sparks, joined today by Paul Cheon from Team Channel Fire, excuse me.
Yes, Fire. Get it right.
I know, I do have it right now. Paul, how is your Pro Tour going so far?
Not very well, okay. Unfortunately. I have 1 win, 2 losses, and 1 draw.
So time to get on the comeback road, it is.
Yes, we are, I think Luis actually, he's a prophet. Earlier, actually a couple days ago, we all wrote on the chalkboard what decks we were most likely to play.
Yeah.
So I wrote down my deck list, and then Luis edited my part. Right on the bottom, he said side drafts. And then put a big circle around it. And I'm just like, well, I'm on pace to do side drafts tomorrow.
Get on the comeback road,
yeah,
Paul.
well, I gotta try.
It's time to see what deck you're playing this weekend. And as we're heading into the standard portion, this is something we're actually going to be seeing quite a bit of. So this is Jeskai Saheeli. Can you just give us a super quick breakdown on what the deck does?
Okay, not a big surprise. I'm actually glad that a control deck's actually viable in standard now. But these are kind of our non-combo win conditions. We have 4 copies of Torrential Gearhulk. This card is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Just straight up value.
This is such a Paul card.
And oh yeah, perfect me card. Yeah. And not only that, you actually win basically half your games through Torrential Gearhulk.
Okay.
You can even call this like a Gearhulk control deck that happens to have the combo.
Yeah, even though this has the infinite combo of Felidar Guardian and Saheeli, right?
Right, and then we have 1 copy of Nahiri. She's kind of a catch-all, in various matchups, especially the Mirror. You have a lot of dead removal spells, so she lets you kind of filter through all of your bad removal. Yeah. You can also use her to, obviously kill creatures, and actually her ultimate is pretty awesome. You can actually use it to get Felidar Guardian to combo off with the Saheeli, or more often and way sweeter is you can use the ultimate to get Torrential Gearhulk, getting a spell, to casting the spell, getting the value, and then it comes back to your hand so you can recast it to get something else.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That is awesome so these are basically your alternate win conditions, sort of. But then moving on to your, I guess, real win conditions, we have Felidar Guardian and Saheeli Rai. How has this been for you so far?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, the 1 game that I won, I just lost the match. The 1 game I won, I just played turn 3 Saheeli. My opponent just thinks for a while, and he's playing an aggressive deck. He's just like, well, I got to put pressure on him, hope he doesn't have it. And he just played a tracker, turn 4. I'm like, Guardian, and he's like, all right, nice deck. And then we just went to the next game. So yeah, basically the way this works, not a big secret to the world. This is basically the new version of the Splinter Twin combo. You play Saheeli Rai, you play Felidar Guardian, you blink the Saheeli Rai, you copy the Felidar Guardian, and then you just make infinite Felidar Guardians and you kill your opponent. So that's kind of how that works. Saheeli is also able to copy Torrential Gearhulk, which happens very frequently.
I see a pattern between the things that you like to copy.
Oh yeah, my favorite card is Torrential Gearhulk, because that's a card that's mostly played as the 3 of it in most of these lists. But we decided to play 4 copies because the card is just awesome and went up to 27.
That is actually a question I had for this right here. You have 3 copies of Felidar Guardian, but there's a lot of decks playing 4. What is the reasoning behind that?
Well, Felidar Guardian just by itself, I mean, it's a 4-mana 1/4, right? It doesn't really do a whole lot. Creatures right now are so pushed that this is just a pretty weak body. So whereas at least Saheeli gives you some amount of deck manipulation, right? You play a turn 3, you can do some scrying, it absorbs some damage. Felidar Guardian doesn't do anything. It's just a 4-mana 1/4. It's part of the combo piece. Exactly. So you play 3 copies because you really kind of function as a control deck. And not only that, you do have that Nahiri, which can act as the 4th copy of Felidar Guardian Fear in a pinch.
Fair enough. So moving on, we have your counter magic. So you have Disallow and Negate.
So, most of the time, in previous versions of control decks, we would play 4 copies of Disallow. But in this deck, you're also trying to combo up. You can't really fit too much counter magic. So we went down on 3 Disallows, and we're playing 2 copies of Negate. We expected a lot of other Saheeli combo decks to be in the field, and Negate is very, very good against the field. But it's also just a cheap way to protect your combo. We didn't really want to play Dispel main deck because there's just so many matchups where it just doesn't do anything. At least with Negate, you can get a Planeswalker. You can get a vehicle on turn 2. So there's some use there. And again, it's a lot easier to protect your combo at 2 mana than 3 mana.
3 mana, that makes sense. And so moving on, we have basically your removal spells, and we have a lot here. A Fumigate, 4 Hardness Lightning, 2 Immolating Grillers, a Radiant Flames, and a Shock. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, so basically, we have a nice little mix of everything. 4 Harness Lightnings, don't leave home without them. It's just super versatile, gives you the energy to kill bigger things with Aether Hub and Glimmer of Genius. And then we just kind of mixed it up with all the other removal spells. We weren't exactly sure how much straight aggro there was going to be, like Marta Vehicles decks, for example. So we decided to play 1 copy of Shock just to have an additional cheap interactive spell. There are a lot of games where the way those decks beat you is playing 2 spells in 1 turn, like turn 3.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to keep up, so that's why we decided to play 1 copy of Shock.
Yeah.
Not only that, it's not great, but it is a way to disrupt the combo in the mirror. Like if they go Felidar Guardian, copy Saheeli, put it down to 1, you can just shock your opponent and kill the Saheeli. Then we have a split with Radiant Flames and Fumigate, because again, this was kind of a hedge. You know, a lot of people
just like try to sweep.
Basically. Exactly. We a lot of decks have played with 2 copies of Fumigate. We thought, you know, a lot of people were trying to beat Saheeli, so they were going to play really aggressive decks. So we thought we wanted to split with the Radiant Flames and Fumigate. And as you can see, all the red removal, you know, does X amount of damage, 3 or less. So we want ways to kill big green creatures. That's what the
Immolating Grail. That makes sense. Moving on, we also have your card draw, your favorite part of the deck, right?
My favorite part, card draw.
So Anticipates and Glimmer of Genius, that makes sense. You just want to reveal
Exactly.
your hand.
Anticipate just helps you smooth out your draws. You know, so it is mana intensive, so we decided to cut it down to 3, but it's still pretty important. It's also nice to just have another deck manipulation spell you can get back with Gearhulk, because sometimes you don't draw your Glimmers. Obviously, Glimmer of Genius, your combo deck, your control deck. Don't leave home without 4 copies.
Makes sense. Lastly, we just have your mana base here, your non-basic lands, and then moving on, we also have your basic lands, and that is pretty much your deck. Paul, how are you feeling for the rest of the PT?
Well, you know, I'm hoping my teammates win. If I do not make day 2, then, you know, I'm going to be bringing them some coffee, giving some massages.
The side drafts?
We'll do some side drafts, of course. I got to shark the side drafts because all the weak players aren't going to make day 2.
Well, so we wish you good luck, Paul. Thank you so much for joining us here. Signing out from Paul Cheon, I'm Gabby Sparks from the Video Wall.